Cinema Shogun here, and there was so much news that I wanted to get to today, but I simply could not let today go by without talking about this. I don't know how many of you all have noticed. I know these days most people don't really pay attention anymore, but my subs, they're a little different. I've noticed that you all are up on game about a lot of the stuff that's going on. I could learn just as much from you all as you all learn from me. And I like that. I like that a lot of you all are informed. I like that we don't necessarily agree on everything, but at the very least, you all are open-minded and you all are informing yourself about all of the crazy stuff going on in the world. But anyways, I don't know how many of you all have noticed, but countries all around the world are getting prepared for nuclear war. And I don't mean like the hollow threats that we've heard throughout the years. I'm not talking about your basic run-of-the-mill stuff that we're used to. I'm not talking about the random warnings that you hear to scare people. I'm not talking about the mainstream media fear-mongering. No, I mean that countries are literally preparing themselves for nuclear war. Just back in May, I don't know how many of you all watched the video, but I brought you all a story about how they were having these massive, major nuclear drills right here in America. In Texas and Houston, they conducted these huge nuclear drills, and this was out in the open. This was public knowledge. It was all over the news back in May. Now, I've heard rumblings since then that they've had other nuclear drills that they didn't talk about, that they didn't let anyone really know about. That certain government officials have possibly taken part in these drills. People more important than us have been doing these drills. Let's just say that. And I know what some of you all are thinking. These drills aren't happening near me. I haven't heard of any of these drills. I wasn't a part of any of these nuclear drills. Well, probably because you're not one of the people that they're concerned about saving, okay? Just because you haven't heard about it, just because you haven't taken part in one, doesn't mean that it's not happening. And the reason I make this video today is because tomorrow, Russia is about to have the biggest nuclear drill the world has ever seen. The biggest nuclear drill the world has ever seen. The first time in the history of Russia that they're having such a drill. And I want you all to understand, this is not a drill where, an alarm goes off on my phone and kids are told to duck under their desk in school. No. Tomorrow, partial martial law is going to kick in Russia. Everyone's taking part in it all across the country, from the military to random businesses, you name it. And in this little drill, they're pretending as if, I forgot the exact numbers, but I think it was like around 60 to 70% of all buildings, and basically they're pretending as if like 70% of Russia is just gone. And they've been wiped out. Their structures, their businesses, their hospitals, you name it, have been wiped out. And they're going to pretend as if all of Russia is basically contaminated with nuclear waste and radiation. The largest nuclear drill in the history of the world, the first of its kind, happening tomorrow in Russia. Now, folks, I understand that we have training exercises. I get it. But this goes beyond that. And I can't help but feel like this is just, our warning signs. Either you're going to take the warning or you're not. But they're taking this very seriously. And like I said, it's not just Russia, it's everywhere. So I'm wondering, what do they know that we don't know? I mean, we know that we're on the brink of something already, but I feel like they know that this is almost a for sure thing that's going to happen. But I want to read you all this article really quick that talks about what's going on. Russia is set to hold nationwide exercises, according to new reports, in preparation for the danger of armed conflicts involving nuclear powers. Russian authorities will hold large-scale drills across the country on October 3rd because of the growing danger of armed conflicts, including nuclear-capable powers near Russia's borders. The Baza Telegram channel, which is linked to Russia's security services, reported, citing the head of Russia's Federal Service for Surveillance on Consumer Rights Protection and Human Well-Being. This will be the first time that Moscow has held such drills, which will imagine that Russia is at least partially under martial law and that up to 70% of the country's housing facilities have been destroyed. The exercises will also suppose that general mobilization has ended and there is the possibility of radioactive contamination. Leaders and officials from across Russian society, from civil defense leaders to heads of state corporations and businesses, will take part in the drills, according to the report. Listen, I know that for years we've heard the threats. We've had people like Kim Jong-un over there in North Korea threatening to do this and do that. We've had Iran threatening to do this and do that. We've heard about Putin. We've heard about this. And, it just became a part of daily life. Threats that we shrug off and we just go about our day, whatever. But I'm beginning to think, and I've talked about this months ago, that we're kind of over that hollow threat phase where people, just spew certain things that they have no intentions of doing. Because you see, the difference is, with all of the threats that we've had, with all of the stuff that we've been through in life, never have I seen governments start reacting this way. We've heard the threats of nuclear war countless times. When have you seen them shut cities down in Texas to conduct nuclear drills? Russia's invaded Ukraine before. There's been things going on all around the world. When's the last time you saw Russia doing something like this? This is the first time in history. I think this goes beyond bluffing. I think this goes beyond posturing. I think this goes beyond any other explanation. I think the explanation is that people are getting ready for something that they kind of feel like is inevitable. And if you look at the situation in Ukraine, it's gotten to the point where countries that are within NATO are sending soldiers over there at this point. And they're not going over there supposedly, they're sending them over there supposedly to train these soldiers, and they're supposedly not going over there to really conducting combat missions and things like that. But from what I'm hearing, they kind of are. I mean, it's hard to believe anything that comes out of Ukraine. There's so much propaganda, but there's been talks that they destroyed a tank not too long ago with German soldiers in it. I know that England is sending more troops over there to train Ukraine soldiers. And just earlier today, the Pentagon had to warn Congress that we're running out of money to supply Ukraine with all of these weapons, and we don't have enough money to, to basically resupply ourselves, to replenish our ammo and our supplies. So while Russia is conducting these nuclear drills, getting ready for nuclear war, we're over here going broke already funding Ukraine. Now, I know that it's a proxy war. I know that Ukraine is basically being used to weaken the Russian military. They're being used as basically a pawn in the US's game, or NATO's game, or whoever you want to blame it on. But I just think that we're getting to this point where the bubble is about to burst. And this bubble could have burst years ago. It's a very delicate bubble. But unfortunately, I think we've gotten to the point where I don't really see any turning back from this. And don't get me wrong, the powers that be, the people running our country and these other countries, they could easily reverse this to where this didn't have to happen, but it looks like they want this to happen. The moves that are being made right now, when you look at things, they're not moves to de-escalate the situation. We're not making moves, the US, we're not making moves to try to stop a larger scale conflict from happening. In fact, we're doing just the exact opposite. And history repeats itself. And right now I'm seeing a lot of things happen that have happened in history before, right before large scale conflicts. So, who knows what's going on? Obviously, the people running these various countries, the powers that be, I call them, they know more than we do. And they're taking this seriously, and I think they're taking it seriously beyond just a scare tactic. I don't think this is fear-mongering anymore. I think they know that either something's going to go down or that we are just one small string away, just one little hair away from all hell breaking loose. Let me know your thoughts about this, though, down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and I'll talk to you all soon in the next video.